It has been 6 months since I quit my job. 6 months since I quit my job as a software engineer in New York City. 6 months since I decided to fully give myself a year to take a bet on myself and go all in on my dreams. 6 months to fully work on content and startup ideas. So, is it worth it? Hi, my name is Joy, and not only did I quit my job, but I also left New York City, the city that was previously my home for the last 5 years of my adult life and the entirety of my teenage dreams. To say that the last 6 months have been full of change is an understatement. I moved back home to Indonesia for a bit, and then now I'm back in California, specifically the Bay Area, where I will be for a short while. Although at this point, I'm not even sure what a short while means. I have had to sacrifice a lot, and there have been so many days when I wondered if it will ever be worth it. In the last 6 months, I have questioned myself. I have doubted myself. I have even hated myself, especially whenever I would pull up YouTube Studio and all I see is a lack of growth. I have felt ashamed. I have felt like a loser. But wait, a VC wants to speak to me. I might get a check. It might not be so bad after all. Wait, I think this time the call went really well. Wait, just kidding, another rejection. The cycle of hell has been repeating itself for the last 6 months. So, is it worth it? The funny thing is, if I had gotten into a pre-seed program or secured a check, or if I had blown up on YouTube, the answer would have been an easy yes. Yes, it was 100% worth it. Trading my cushy New York City lifestyle for this uncertainty was 100% worth it. But that wasn't what happened. The last 6 months have been the hardest 6 months of my life. I've never felt so alone and lost and scared and anxious. When I first quit my job, I couldn't see my friends for about a month because I felt so crazy. I felt embarrassed for wanting something different when the status quo of corporate New York City is good enough. How can you be so crazy to throw all of that away? But even a year before I pulled the trigger, I was already dreaming about leaving. I was starting to feel stuck in life, and I was dreaming of something else. Though I was making 6 figures, had fancy companies on my resume, and a pretty apartment facing the Empire State under my name, I felt very uneasy. I felt like I wasn't making the most out of my talents, and I also felt like there was more to life than the life I was living. Every day after work, I would feel like I was a character in the wrong movie, and I felt like surely this can't be it, right? There must be more to life than this. As I started to reflect and think about what I wanted the next 10 years of my life to look like, what I wanted to dream up next, through a lot of self-reflection, I did find the answers. And as the answer became clearer to me, I felt increasingly more uneasy internally. I had spent all of my adult life in pursuit of one dream, the corporate America dream. And that was largely because it was the only path that I thought exists. I worked really hard to get on and to grow on that path, only to find myself feeling very empty at the end of every day and only simply looking forward to vacations and weekends. And as it became clear to me what I wanted to do with my life instead, I started my morning every day feeling like I should be somewhere else instead. And that feeling, when your reality and your desires are so distinct, creates an internal conflict. That internal conflict was starting to eat me alive. If you ask me what I fear the most, it never is failure, but rather it's living a life that is half-lived. One where you fast forward to 10, 20, maybe even 40 or 50 years later, when you look back on your life wishing you had started something sooner, or thinking, God, I wish I had pursued a different path. Looking back, regretting the chances you didn't take, wishing you had tried something completely insanely different instead, or maybe even wishing that you tried harder. That is what I fear the most. And as I grew with age, I realized that nobody intends to live a life full of regrets. But the seed for regret always starts with, I want to do this, but I'm not ready. Maybe next year, or I think it's too late to start. Then you continuously water that seed with some intelligent excuse or reason to justify your lack of courage, lack of action, because it is a safe and smart thing to do. The truth is, failing really hurts. Failing, not succeeding at the thing you want to do, really sucks. But for me, I would rather have to deal with that feeling than one where I'm in my life looking back and thinking, what if? I will never tell anyone to do anything, especially whether or not they should quit their job to take a chance. The decision is, at the end of the day, a personal one. There is no right answer, and only they know what is best for them. But I know that if I had stayed, if I had continued on a path that I already knew wasn't right for me, I would be full of regret, because the chasm between the person I was and the life I was living, and the person I wanted to be and the life I wanted to have, was starting to gnaw at me. Leaving was hard, but staying would have been harder. Now that I've hit my 6 months mark, I have 6 more months to make it work, or I have to figure out what to do next. But the thing is, I've made peace with the fact that even if at the end of 1 year I don't secure a check, my YouTube still remains stagnant, I will be okay, because I've tried, I've given it my all, and doing this takes a hell lot of courage and getting out of my comfort zone. And I just feel so immensely proud of myself for that. I've come to realize that life isn't just about doing the right things on paper, or following a certain path, or filling up the gaps on your resume, or even taking the right step every time. But life is about taking steps, even if the steps are missteps or detours. Because sometimes in life, you need to take a few steps back in order to move forward, and there is also so much beauty in the journey. It is about getting out of your comfort zone, opening yourself up to opportunities, and having the courage to chase after the things you truly want, even if you do not feel ready and are scared out of your mind. And as much as you watch videos and read books about stories of those who have made it, you can't find the answer or blueprint on how to succeed in someone else's story. You can only find them by living your own life. In the last 6 months, I also learned that I am incredibly strong and resilient, in ways I didn't even think I was capable of prior. I learned that I can trust myself, and that there are so many people in my life who love me for me, even at my lowest points. I made new friends that I otherwise wouldn't have, who changed how I view the world and myself. And I also internalized the idea that the world is a malleable and large place where there are just so many paths, and you get to decide what to make out of yours. Life is so much more than just the pursuit of the tangible or about getting results. If I hadn't taken the leap, I wouldn't have grown the way that I did, and my life has since blossomed in ways I couldn't have initially planned for. And to me, that makes all the hard days worth it.